Hey guys, welcome to Drawing with Abby. In today's video, we are drawing on my Samsung Tab S6 in Artflow. So this is part one of this drawing video. I'll be posting a second part where I'll be covering the inks. In this video, we're just going to be handling the sketch. And I've sped up the drawing by about 200%. And just so that you're not sitting there for 30 minutes watching me sketch away this character. So this is a sketch featuring DC Comics Black Canary. I'm going to be offering my own little spin on it. You can see here at the beginning stage of the sketch, I'm just roughing out my pose. I'm not being super detailed with any of the finer bits of the anatomy. I'm really just locking down the shapes and the placement of everything. And I'll go zoom in and I'll start working into some more details, like here, the face. The brush tool that I'm using here is the 2B brush tool located under the pencil preset for Artflow, which is actually kind of unusual for me. I typically use the soft marker brush tool that's located in the pen tool set. I just find it's a better sketching experience versus some of the pencil brushes that Artflow offers. But here I'm just making an effort to use some of those pencil brushes just to see if I can make it work. You can see here the brushes come off just a little too strong. There's not enough softness in there for my taste, and so I'll often have to use the airbrush tool for the eraser tool to soften up my lines and then go back and draw, which is something I do anyway, regardless of the brushes, but I find I have to do it more often when using the pencil brushes in Artflow. So at this stage, you start seeing me introduce a little bit more anatomy to the drawing. I am using a reference photo that I found on Pinterest. I've made a separate video about talking about how to use reference in your drawing workflow. There's a right way of doing it, there's a wrong way of doing it, and mostly it's just the wrong way really just boils down to just don't trace. Tracing might be good when you're first starting out just to work out your proportions and try to understand it, but never make an illustration by tracing. It's fine to use as a tool for studies, just to work out bits of anatomy, but it's better to just look at a drawing and draw from it. And a couple of the reasons for that is, one, you learn a lot more when you're training your eye to look at a figure or an object and try to break it down and try to translate it onto your page. And then secondly, you infuse a lot of yourself when you're doing that translation process, when you're taking something from a photo or from something that's in front of you, and you sort of transform it unknowingly as you're putting it down onto your paper or your digital canvas, and you're adding your little spin to it, your little perspective to it. And that's something that you'll lose when you're tracing. So when you can, if you're going to be using reference, draw from the photo instead of tracing from the photo. Here's a technique that I use pretty often, which is drawing lines across the surface of a shape or a figure. And this is something I picked up at Life Drawing, and it just helps me understand the volume and how that particular object fits within a 3D space. So at this point, I'm just going to gently erase my underdrawing, and I'm going to build on that using a smaller pencil brush and start filling in some more details on the face. Typically when I'm drawing sort of the larger aspects of the drawings, or when I'm just blocking out the shapes, I'll use a larger pencil brush. But then when it's time to really hone in and build out those details, I'll switch to a smaller brush, and they just help me get in those fine details. But where I'm working on larger areas of the drawing of the figure, I'll switch to a larger brushes because it's a lot faster to work through it. Here I'm flipping my canvas horizontally in Artflow, and this is something that I do in every drawing app that I use, and essentially what it does is it helps me identify when elements in my drawing aren't working correctly. So when I flip my canvas, I was able to tell almost immediately that my face, the elements of my face weren't aligned correctly, like the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. So flipping the canvas not only helps me identify that, but I'll continue drawing on the flipped version of the canvas, and I'll flip back and forth until everything looks correct. I still to this day don't completely understand why, when I'm working on a drawing initially, why elements are skewed, and then when you flip it, it kind of sort of reveals itself to you that way. I think it has something to do with like the bias of like your dominant hand, as well as the viewing angle that you're viewing the drawing in. But it is a fantastic tool to use, no matter what drawing app that you're using, whether if it's Artflow or something else. Make sure you find where you're able to flip the canvas horizontally or vertically, and it will do wonders on improving your drawing. So one thing that I constantly do in the sketch stage of my drawings is that I'm constantly reworking and rethinking all of my elements of my drawings. So here you're gonna see that I wasn't too happy with the face, so I've decided to shift it to a 3/4 angle. Thought it would be a lot more interesting than sort of that flat on view of the face. And I thought maybe I can add just a little bit more personality if the character's looking slightly away from the camera, but maintaining eye contact. I thought it would add a little bit more intrigue, a little bit more fun to the expression. So that's something I also recommend. As you're sketching, just constantly keep questioning, keep thinking about what it is you're trying to accomplish, how the elements of your drawings are helping you to accomplish those things. So in this particular case, I really wanted to portray a tough Black Canary, someone that's gearing up for a fight, but she's not afraid, she's not angry, she's very much, has this very happy expression. She's thrilled to just about to leap into action, and in some ways that can be a lot more intimidating than a more aggressive character. Hair is one of those tricky things that you have to contend with when you're drawing a lot of human characters, hair and drapery, but they use pretty much the same principles of using bigger shapes before you break them down. But if you guys are interested in a video that kind of dives a little deeper in how to draw hairs, how to draw capes, how to draw fabrics like jackets, hit me up in the comments and let me know, and I'll be happy to put together a video. I think most people, like myself, struggle with hands a lot. I feel like I've improved how to draw hands, or how I draw hands, tremendously over the last year or so. And that just really comes down to doing a bunch of studies and try to draw hands from different angles. Unfortunately, there's no real shortcut to drawing hands. The method that I use is I'll block out the shapes almost like a mitten-like shape for the hands, and then work in where the knuckles are, and then build in how the fingers individually fit to where the knuckles are supposed to be. But really, there's no substitute for doing those studies and really try to figure out the different elements and the different shapes that work within the hand. So I wanted to talk a quick minute about drawing on the Samsung Tab S6. This is a tablet I picked up a couple of years ago, and even when I picked it up, this tablet was really out of date. They do refreshes of this particular tablet, but the most that they do is they might upgrade the chip inside, but not much else. So I picked up the 2021 version of the Tab S6, and it's been one of the best purchases I've ever made. The great thing about the tablet, number one, is that it uses a Wacom style EMR pen. So you get a great drawing experience right out of the box, and it comes with the pen included. It's not like an iPad where you have to go out and buy the Apple Pen separately. This is included within the packaging. The second thing is that it's crazy cheap. You can pick up one of these for just over $300 Canadian, and it is a fantastic deal. Yeah, it doesn't have a super powerful processor, but it really doesn't need to. As long as you're using some light drawing apps like Clip Studio Paint or Artflow or Mobile Painter, this tablet is more than capable of handling those drawing apps. I'm not someone that likes to use too many layers in my drawings, and that would really be the only major limitation, is how many layers you can have on your drawings. I've had upwards to 30 layers in Artflow, about 15 to 20 layers in Clip Studio Paint, and roughly the same for Painter Mobile, and didn't notice any performance issues with the tablet. But if you do keep trying to push the layers on the tablet, you will notice the slowdown. The other major challenge that I do find with the tablet is the brush sizes. So if I'm using a very large brush size and I'm drawing across the canvas, I do notice a major significant lag, but not a deal breaker for me. And I think for most of you, not a deal breaker for you guys as well, just because it's very rare you're going to be using a brush that large across the canvas. You might be using it for background painting, and that's okay. You can use a paint bucket fill to begin with, do a couple of strokes with a larger brush. But if you just minimize the size of the brush by like 80%, 60%, you'll get back the performance that you're looking for. So it's really not a major deal breaker. And again, for the price of the tablet, it's fantastic. Really no complaints there. So if you guys are in the market and you're looking for a drawing tablet, I definitely recommend this one in particular, especially if you're constrained by a budget and you're looking at maybe at the Tab S8 or for an Apple iPad. I really enjoyed this tablet. I've used the Apple Pencil in comparison to this, and I find the performance is very similar. But that's just me. I think the only really major advantage that the iPad has over a tablet like this, honestly, is Procreate. Just having access to Procreate, which is not available on Android devices. Procreate's a fantastic drawing app. You can do so much with it, and it makes things really easy for you. That would be really the only thing you're missing out on. I do want to take a minute to talk about Artflow. I've made a couple of videos about Artflow in the past, and I know a lot of you guys are interested in learning how to use it. One thing I do like about Artflow is the pricing structure. You get a lot of the features for free, and then it's just a one-time payment to unlock the premium features, and it's really not that expensive. It's less than $10 to unlock the full app. However, I'm beginning to start using it less and less, and not because of any fault of the app itself. It is a fantastic drawing app, but primarily because the makers for the app have stopped supporting it, and they haven't supported it for a couple of years now. And which means that some of the things that I like Artflow to include or to upgrade in the future just aren't going to happen. For instance, being able to import a brush I created in Photoshop or Clip Studio Paint. I would love to be able to import that into Artflow. However, you can't do that with the current version, as well as some other minor things. So I'll continue to publish some videos regarding Artflow for you guys, if you guys are interested in how to use it and how to create some high quality art with it. However, for my own personal workflow, I'm starting to move slowly away from it, because I don't want to rely on an app where I know the support's not going to be there in case something goes wrong, or if it gets outpaced with some other great features. So that was drawing on the Samsung Tab S6 in Artflow. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you guys like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you guys want to see more, hit that subscribe button. It really helps out the channel. If there's anything you guys wanted me to cover in more detail, or you wanted to see me do a particular drawing, go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section below. Until next time, keep drawing.